Where are the others?
सर कुछ लोग पावर नैप ले रहे हैं अभी खाने के बाद, अभी थोड़ी देर में आ जाएंगे।
Power nap. So ये people are not aware the session starts at 14:45. You should be ready by 14:45, I think. Because if I start the presentation, I think nobody should miss it.
सर क्लास के हिसाब से तो 14:15 पे ही शुरू होना था।
14:45 है आप लोगों का टाइम, जो टाइम टेबल में लिखा हुआ है 14:45। आप लोगों ने टाइम टेबल देखा नहीं क्या?
सर देखा था उसमें 14:15 लिखा हुआ था, मैं भी गलत देख लूँ।
नहीं, वो आपका जो ग्रुप नंबर 3A और 3B के लिए 14:45 है। आप दोबारा देखिएगा अच्छी तरह। ठीक है, तो सभी ग्रुप्स का अलग अलग टाइम है। हो सकता है बाकी ग्रुप्स का टाइम कुछ और होगा, बट 3A और 3B का 14:45 है, 14:45 to 16:50।
Yes, sir. It was done to make the message timing.
तो आई थिंक 79, अभी भी 7-8 लोग कुछ बाकी हैं ज्वाइन करना। आप लोगों के कौन है कोर्स रिप्रेजेंटेटिव्स, कौन कौन है? टीए का कौन है कोर्स रिप्रेजेंटेटिव? Who is the CR of 3A?
Sir, I am Chirag Jha. I am the CR.
बाकी लोग अपने माइक स्विच ऑफ कर दें, जो बोल रहा है वही माइक अपना ऑन रखे, बाकी सभी लोग अपने माइक बंद कर दें ताकि इको नहीं आए। हाँ, तो मिस्टर चिराग, यू आर फ्रॉम 3A?
Yes, sir.
And who is the CR of 3B? Who is the CR? I think we can't hear you.
Hello.
Yes, please.
Hello.
बोलिए। Chirag, you can switch off your mic. बोलिए। Yes, please. Who is the
Hello,
CR?
sir. Shuchita, am I audible, sir? Sorry, there's
Yes, you are audible, but there's a lot of disturbance in between. So you are the CR of 3B.
Sir, I'm not able to hear you. Sorry, sir. This is network.
Okay. Okay, and please switch off your videos also, so that we can save some bandwidth. So, can the CRs confirm that everybody has joined, or still anyone left? I think we have 85 participants, so I hope everybody has joined now. So can we start with the presentation?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, then I'm starting. Is it visible to all?
Yes, sir.
So today we'll be discussing about the organizational structure and the functions of the operating department. And let me introduce myself. I'm Raju Luthra, Senior Professor Transportation Management at the National Academy of Indian Railways, Vadodara. I hope the presentation is visible to all of you.
Yes, sir.
Sir, it is visible.
Okay. Now, what does the operating department in railways do? So the basic function of operating department is management of the railway operations. Now, what are the railway operations? Railway operations, they can be classified into coaching operations. Coaching means coaches. Coaches are the rolling stock which we generally use in the passenger trains. So all the passenger trains, they consist of a specific set of coaches, and their operation, it forms part of a coaching operation. Then we have freight operations. Freight operations, basically we have the operations of the goods system, the goods trains. All the goods trains, they are part of the freight operations. Then we have some departmental operations also. Departmental operations are like movement of some railway material. If we are moving some railway material used for departmental purpose, for maintenance of track, for signaling, for mechanical department, so there may be some departmental material moving in the trains. So that will be part of the departmental operation. Now there may be some rescue and relief operations. In case of any accident or any mishap or any natural calamity, there may be requirement to carry out some rescue and relief operations. So there are separate set of instructions for such operations which are called rescue and relief operations. Now, operations during abnormal working. Abnormal working is basically maybe due to any asset failure. Asset failure, there are a lot of assets used in the railway working. Assets may be engineering assets, which like T-way assets like track, bridges, etc. Then there may be signaling assets like signals, points, etc. There may be electrical assets like OHE, etc. So if there is any failure of the assets, then we may have different set of instructions for operations during abnormal working. So such type of working during any abnormal condition, whenever there is any failure or there is any other natural reason also, we'll have different set of instructions which will be part of the operations during abnormal work. Now, why is operation management important? Basically, operations are the end product offered by the railways. So all of you, when you start working in the field and in the railway organization, you will see that whatever you are doing, you may be in whatever department, but the end product which the railways is offering is the operation. That is called the operations. Then the efficiency of the railways, that also depends on the quality of its operation. If our operations are good, if we are operating very smoothly, without any hindrance, then our efficiency will be high. But if our operations are sluggish, then our efficiency will be low. So the efficiency of the railway, it will depend on how well we are operating the system. Then the public image, the public, what the public is perceiving about the railways, that is also determined by the operation. If the trains are running on time, all the facilities are available to the passengers, then we'll have, obviously we'll carry a good image. If our trains are not running on time, trains are getting late, the passengers are not getting the required facilities, then our public image will not be so good and will face lot of criticism. So our public image, it also depends largely on what kind of operations we are performing. And the operating ratio is an indicator of the productivity of railway operations. What is operating ratio? Operating ratio, you can understand that the amount of expenditure which is required to earn, say, 100 rupees in the railways. So if we have to achieve an earning of 100 rupees, how much expenditure we are required to incur, that will be the operating ratio of the railway. So the operating ratio will be high if we are not so efficient, and if our operations are not so good, it will be high. That means we have to spend much more money to earn 100 rupees. But if our operating ratio is low, that means we are operating efficiently and our operations are good and our expenditure is less. Then contribution by all the departments is important for smooth and efficient operation. So it is not just the operating department which is contributing towards the railway operations. All the departments, whether engineering, mechanical, electrical, signaling, stores, all departments, they are contributing directly or indirectly towards the railway operations. They have their specific role and which contributes to the entire operations of the railway. Now let's look at the hierarchy of operations in the railways. At the railway board level, we have a member, operations and business development. So the railway board, as many of you must be aware, that railway board has now 4 members, and one of the members is operations and business development, and he heads all the all the railway operations which are carried out in the Indian Railway. Now below him there are additional members, additional member business development, additional member traffic. There are additional members with different subset of duties. Then below them there are principal executive directors. They are also assigned different roles as per requirement. Then there are executive directors below them and directors also. If we look at the zonal headquarters, we have a principal chief operating manager at the zonal headquarters. So all zonal headquarters, they are having one principal chief operating manager who is looking after the operations in that particular zone. Then we have chief passenger transportation manager below him, who looks after the passenger transportation in the zone. So all the passenger trains, mail, express, superfast, etc., their planning, their monitoring, management, that is being done by the chief passenger transportation manager. Then we have chief freight transportation manager. He looks after all the freight transportation in the zone. So all the goods movement of whatever commodity, that is monitored by the chief freight transportation management. He monitors it. He plans also, and he acts as a coordinator between all the divisions of the zone. So then there is one chief traffic planning manager. So all the planning related to the various activities, whether it is development of new goods shed, new terminals, freight terminals, passenger terminals, etc. So all the planning is being done by the chief traffic planning manager. Then there, all these, they are called heads of departments, and the principal chief operating manager is called the principal head of department. So there may be few more HODs or head of department, like Chief Operating Manager General. Then there may be some CTO also, Chief Traffic Officer in some of the railways. So there may be some more HODs also, depending on the zone, the quantum of workload in the zone. Then below them there are Deputy Chief Operating Managers. They are normally of J grade or selection. So in the divisions we are having Senior Divisional Operating Manager, who is the branch officer under the Divisional Railway Manager, looking after the railway operations in the division. He is a J grade officer, and below him there are Divisional Operating Manager, maybe one or maybe more, again depending on the workload. So the DOM is generally of senior scale, and he may look after operations, or there is a DOM general also who looks after the traffic safety, the safety portion of the traffic department. Then there may be a few AOMs also, assistant operating managers we call. They are working under the senior DOM. So this is the operations hierarchy in the at the railway board level, at the zonal level, and at the divisional level. Now, what are coaching operations? Coaching operations, they consist mainly of the passenger train operations, the mixed train operations. Now, what is a mixed train? A mixed train consists of passenger coaches as well as goods stock. So it carries both the passengers as well as some material or some goods. They are also carried by these trains. So generally you will find that some military special trains railways are running, which consist of both the coaches as well as goods stock are used in such type of trains. So these trains, they are of mixed nature, so they are called mixed trains. Then we have parcel trains. Parcel trains, they are basically coaches, but there are no windows and no windows like the other coaches which are used to carry passengers. So they are a specific set of coaches which are used for carrying parcels only. So such coaches, they are called VPUs. They carry parcel only, and some parcel specials we are running these days to for the movement of essential commodities throughout the country. So in this COVID situation, it is very important, and particularly during the lockdown period, it was very important that all the essential commodities are moved and reach their destination in time. So the timetable parcel trains were started for the movement of essential commodity. So such operations, they are called parcel train operations, and they are also part of the coaching operation. Now, what are the types of coaching trains? We have premier services like Rajdhani, Shatabdi, Duranto, Gatiman, Tejas, etc. So Indian Railways is running many premier services. You may have heard of all these names like Rajdhani Express, Shatabdi Express, then Duranto, Gatiman Express, Tejas. So lot of premier services railways have introduced and is operating, and they are operated in different parts of the country. Then there are superfast trains. Superfast trains, they have an average speed of more than 56 kmph, and they generally run for a long distance between two important cities. So they connect to important cities at a long distance, and they are called superfast trains. So their stoppages are very limited, so their average speed is high. Then we have long distance mail express trains. They may not be super fast, they are not super fast, but they run for a long distance, and they may pass through many of the states. They may connect the remote parts of the countries also. So such trains, they are called long distance mail express trains. Then we have short distance intercity trains. Maybe within a state, we may be running such type of trains. For example, there is a state capital. In a bigger state, the smaller cities of the state, they may be connected to the capital city by running such short distance intercity trains. So within the state, generally they are run within the state only, or at the most to the adjacent state. So such trains, they run for a short distance, and primarily they are used by the commuters, and they run during daytime only. So there are limited number of berths or the sleeper coaches. Most of the accommodation that is of sitting type. So like AC chair car, you must have seen, and there are general sitting coaches also. So such trains, they generally they run for short distances during daytime only. Then passenger trains, mixed trains, that I have already explained. Then there are EMU, MEMU, and DEMU trains. EMU is electrical multiple unit, MEMU is mainline electrical multiple unit, and DEMU is diesel electrical multiple unit. So has anybody seen the suburban trains in Mumbai?
Yes, sir.
So those trains, they are called EMU. They are electrical multiple units. You will find that there is no engine, there is no separate engine in those suburban trains. They are run as a multiple units. There is a small basic unit, and there are multiples of that which are connected, and they are run as a train. So they are called electrical multiple unit. Then if we are running such trains on main line, that is out of the suburban area, then they are called mainline electrical multiple units. And if we are not running it on electric traction, that is no OH is being used, it is not run on electric traction, we are running it on diesel, then they are called diesel electrical multiple unit. So such trains also are being operated. Then we have a rail bus. Has anyone seen any rail bus? You can, if you have visited some of the remote areas, or there are some branch line sections, there are small sections in the maybe in some of the zones where such rail buses are plying. They are just like the buses which are plying on roads. They are having one unit only, or one set of rolling stock, or you can say one unit of rolling stock containing where the driver is also seated, the passengers are also seated in that, and it is operated for a short distance in a branch line for a short distance. So you can see a picture of rail bus. I'll try to show you if you have not seen it. Then there are holiday special trains. These trains, they are run during the holiday time, maybe summer vacations, winter vacations, or during any festive season like Diwali, etc. So to cater to the extra rush of passengers, we run holiday special trains so that there is no overcrowding, and the extra demand which is generated during any festival season or holidays, that can be catered to. Then parcel trains we have already discussed. They are dedicated trains for the movement of parcels for essential commodities like medicines, drugs, then foods, vegetables, etc. So a lot of things, they are carried as a parcel in the trains, and such there are special trains to carry the parcels, which consists of only parcel coaches, which are VPUs. So they are parcel special trains used to carry the essential commodities throughout the country. Then punctuality of passenger trains. You must have observed that it becomes very irritating when a train is running late, particularly if you have to reach a destination on time. And if the train is not running on time and it is reaching late and you are missing some important work because of that, then definitely as a passenger you will be very irritated. So it is very important to maintain the punctuality of passenger trains. And a lot of emphasis is given in the Indian Railways about the punctuality of passenger trains. What we have done is we have timetabled all the trains. So you will find that all the passenger trains or the special trains, they are timetabled and they have to move as per a scheduled timetable. And at each and every station, there is a scheduled arrival time and scheduled departure time. So it has to be followed. Now, what are the factors which are affecting the punctuality of passenger trains? Why the passenger trains they get late? First reason is loco changing, crew changing. So though sometimes we have to change the locomotive. The locomotive may be changed as a scheduled in a scheduled manner or in an unscheduled manner because of some any defect. If the locomotive fails because of any defect, then it is required to be changed. And similarly, there the crew which is running the locomotive, the pilots, the loco pilots, and the assistant loco pilots, etc., they are also changed at the nominated station. So some time is required for their changing the locomotive or the crew. So that time should not be too much. It is prescribed in the timetable that how much time can be given, and if more time is taken, then the train will lose its punctuality. Then some time is required for the fueling in locomotive. The locomotive requires fueling at some stations. Then water has to be filled in the coaches for the passengers because passengers they need water in the water is needed in the toilets, bathrooms, etc. Watering of coaches is required to be done at some of the stations. Then cleaning of coaches is also required. So some time has to be provided for all these activities. However, it has to be ensured that no extra time is taken for any of the activities. So it is very important that whatever time is prescribed, that is only taken for these activities so as to maintain the punctuality of the train. Then shunting. What is shunting? Shunting is basically attaching or detaching of coaches. If any coaches are required to be detached from a train or some coaches are required to be attached in a train, then that operation will be called shunting operation. So shunting may be required at some of the stations. So again, we have to monitor at such stations that the time taken in shunting is not too much. It doesn't go beyond the prescribed time. So the shunting activity should be planned and managed in such a way that no extra time is taken. There is no unwanted detention of the train and the punctuality of the train is maintained. Then parcel loading and unloading activity. At many of the stations, you will find that even in the passenger trains, there are two compartments. One near the guard portion of the train. There is a compartment where parcels are loaded and unloaded, and the other compartment is near the engine. So you will find that generally there are two coaches or which are called SLRs in which parcels are loaded and unloaded even in passenger trains. So if extra time is being taken in parcel loading and unloading, the punctuality of passenger trains will be affected. So it has to be monitored that no extra time is taken for parcel loading and unloading so that the punctuality of trains is not adversely affected. Then asset failure. There are a lot of assets which are used for the operation of trains. Like assets may be engineering assets like track, bridges, sleepers. All these are engineering assets. Then there are signaling assets like signals, points, block instruments, etc. Then there are electrical assets, the overhead electric line, by which the trains are on electric traction. So all these assets, they help in the operation of the trains. But if there is any failure, if there is any failure in any of the assets, then the punctuality of the trains will be affected. So it is very important to control any failure of any of the assets, and even if there is any failure, it should be rectified within as less time as possible. Then there may be alarm chain pullings. You must have seen while traveling, you must have seen that there are chains in every coaches which are required to be pulled in case of emergency. There are instructions written that they should be pulled only in cases of emergency. If the train is required to be stopped, then the chain has to be pulled and the train can be stopped. However, you will find that these chains, they are sometimes misused by the miscreants or some antisocial elements, maybe for a mischief, or they may require to stop a train anywhere. So, because of some law and order problems in the country, some certain sections of the railways, they are very prone to frequent alarm chain pullings. So such activities, they are also required to be curbed with the help of the RPF, that is the Railway Protection Force. There are staff of Railway Protection Force deployed at stations and in the trains who generally monitor all these cases and take preventive action to avoid any misuse of the alarm chain pullings. Then there may be some other unusual incidences like bad weather, foggy weather, storm, or there may be public agitations, rail roko andolan, etc. You must have heard about. So because of that, also the punctuality of passenger trains get affected. Now the freight operations. What are the characteristics of freight operations? The freight operation, the goods operations in the railways, they are generally more complex as compared to the passenger operations. Now, why they are more complex? Because the goods trains are not timetable. All the passenger trains, they are running as per a timetable. Their timings are fixed, that they'll arrive at so and so time at a particular station and they'll leave at a particular time from a particular station. So, but in case of goods train, their timings are not fixed in the Indian Railway. They are not timetable. So, their operation becomes much more complex as compared to the passenger train. So, because they are not timetable, daily planning is required for their running and monitoring. So, whenever you go in a division, you will find that there is a control office where daily planning of freight operations is being done. All the freight trains, they are being planned daily and monitored daily on a continuous basis so that they can be moved effectively, or their mobility can be achieved as in a desired manner. Then for running each goods trains, efforts are required to arrange loco. Loco is the locomotive or the engine. So for each and every goods train, an engine has to be arranged and attached to it before it's running. Then crew and guard. Crew are the set of loco pilot and the assistant loco pilot, which are running the train. And guard is the in the rearmost wagon who is taking care of the rear portion of the train, and who has to liaison with the crew or the loco pilot and the assistant loco pilot during the journey of the train. So all these persons, the crew, the guard, they have to be arranged for running of a goods train on daily basis. And also path is required. You will find that in some sections there are a lot of passenger trains moving after one another. There is hardly any margin between two passenger trains. So the goods train has to find path between the running of passenger trains so that they can be moved without affecting the punctuality of the passenger trains. The path is required between the movement of the different passenger trains on which goods train can move. The goods trains require continuous monitoring for effective running. If we don't monitor the running of goods trains, they will be stable, they will be detained at many of the stations for long time. So in the control office, many of the controllers, they are assigned this specific duty only to monitor the running of goods trains. Now, what are the other issues? Fluctuating demands. You will find that the goods trains, generally they are moved as per demand. If a commodity is to be transported from one station or from one area to another area, then there will be demands in that particular area for goods trains, for particular type of wagons. So the demands may be fluctuating throughout the year. Suppose after a crop, maybe after rainy season or after we are having a good crop, there will be demand to move food grain from one part of the country to another. So suddenly you will find that there is lot of demand of goods train for movement of food grain. So the demands, they keep on varying throughout the year. Then we have diminishing market share also. The lot of our traffic which we used to move by our goods trains, that is getting diverted to road. That is getting shifted to road because of competition. The road operators, they are offering more competitive prices. So the commodities which we are loading, they are shifted to road because of economical prices provided by the road operator. So our market share is also diminishing in terms of freight traffic, which is also a big challenge for all of us. Then availability of proper and fit wagons is very important. If we don't have proper and fit wagons for goods loading, we won't be able to achieve the desired loading or revenue, even if there is demand. So even if we are having lot of demands, if we are not having proper and fit wagons available for loading, we will not be able to achieve the desired loading targets and get the required earning out of the operation of goods trains. So for proper and fit examination wagons, we need to have TXR examination. TXR is basically train examiner, which examines the condition of goods trains. TXR is a train examiner who examines the condition of the goods trains and ascertains that all the wagons which are moving in goods trains, they are in proper and fit condition. TXR examination is very important. Then if the wagons are not fit, they are marked sick. If a wagon is not fit for loading and movement, then it is marked sick and it cannot be used for loading purpose. Then there are ROH, POH marking also, like for regular overhauling, periodic overhauling of the vehicles. So there are some scheduled overhauls prescribed for each and every wagon. And as per that frequency, overhauling of the wagons is required to be carried out. Then roadside detachment. Whenever a goods train is moving, if wagons get sick or if wagons becomes defective en route, then that wagon has to be detached. So if at any station, if the freight train is passing through a station and a wagon gets defective, then the wagon has to be detached at that particular station, and such detachments, they are called roadside detachment. They should be avoided, and for that it is very important that all the wagons before loading, they are made fit so that they don't get defective en route. Now, pattern of traffic is also very important. At some of the stations, we may have outward traffic. At some of the stations, we have inward traffic. Outward traffic means traffic which is to be loaded and sent to a particular destination. So there may be goods traffic at a particular station which is outward. So such commodities, they will be loaded at the station and they will go to some other station for unloading. And at some of the stations, there will be inward traffic which is coming from other stations and getting unloaded at that particular station. So some stations, they are handling outward traffic, some stations are handling inward traffic. Now empty running. If a rake or a goods train is unloaded at a particular station, then there may not be any demand for further loading at that station. That goods train has to be carried in empty condition to the nearest station or terminal where there is demand available for that particular rake to be loaded again. So empty running of goods trains is also there because we don't have the demand for loading and unloading at the same station. So we have to carry the train in empty condition. If we carry the train in empty condition, we are not getting any revenue out of it. We are not getting any earning out of it. So it is not desirable, but practically it is not possible to have loading and unloading at the same station. So we have to carry the train in empty condition. Now, what are the other issues? Availability of path. As I have already discussed that since the goods trains, they are moving in between moving in the time margin which is available between the movement of two passenger trains. Availability of path is very important for movement of the freight trains. Then roadside regulations. Since the passenger trains, they are always given priority over the goods trains. So, if there is a passenger train passing, then the goods train is regulated at a station. Such regulations, they are called roadside regulation, and the passenger train is given precedence, or if there is any crossing, then also the goods train is stopped and the passenger train is passed through. So in order to give priority to the passenger trains, the goods trains, they are regulated at roadside stations. Then there are speed differentials. Speed differentials, basically the trains, they are running at different speeds. You will find that the passenger trains, they are running at much higher speed. Some of the trains, they may be running at 130, 140, even 160 kmph. And the goods trains, they may be running at much lower speed. Like some of the trains, they are running at 75 kmph. Some container trains, they are running at 100 kmph. So there are a lot of speed differentials within the trains, and a slower train has to give preference to the precedence to the faster train. If a slower train is moving ahead of a faster train, it has to be stopped in between, and the faster train has to be given precedence so that the faster train is not detained heavily. So because of these speed differentials, the mobility of the goods train is affected. Now there are terminal related issues also. Terminal facilities. There has to be good terminal facilities, preferably mechanized loading and unloading facilities available at the terminals so that the loading and unloading can be done fast. And terminal detentions are also required to be monitored. The train should not detain heavily at a terminal. It should be loaded fast, unloaded fast. It should be provided engine, crew, guard, etc. should be provided immediately on time so that the trains are not unnecessarily detained at any terminal. Now, what are the operating staff which are performing the railway operations, day-to-day railway operations? So at stations, you will find that we have station masters. If anybody has gone to any station, you will find that there are some station masters who are taking care of all the operations at the stations. Then there are some pointsmen who are operating points, signals, etc. So for such type of duties, there are pointsmen at the station. Then in trains, you will find that there are crew and guard. Crew are the loco-pilot and the assistant loco-pilot, which are in the engine, which are running the train. And the guard is in the rearmost wagon or the coach for the safety of the rear portion of the train. Then every division you will find that there is a control office also. The control office, it monitors the entire operations in a division. So in control office, you will find that there are controllers of all the departments. Primarily operating department, then there are controllers of engineering department also. Then there are controllers of electrical department, OHE. Then controllers of mechanical department like CNW controllers, carriage and wagon controller, power controller, signaling controller is also there. So all the departments which are directly associated with operations, they are having their controllers in the control office of the division. Now, what are the important features and monitorable items which are available at the stations? We'll have a look at that. The availability of staff for train operations. So the most important thing that the required staff has to be made available at every station for train operation. There has to be a station master in each shift. Suppose, because we cannot leave the station unmanned. If there are round the clock train operations going on, then there has to be a station master provided in each shift for the train operation. The shifts may be 8-hour shift. So for 24 hours, we may require 3 station masters working in each shift during a day. And then we'll have to provide some rest giver staff also, because the 3 station masters, they cannot work throughout the week. On a particular day of the week, they have to be provided rest also. So we have to provide some rest giver staff also. Then some leave reserve staff is also required to be provided. In case any staff goes on leave, then there are leave reserve staff provided who takes care of the operations in their absence. Then station records are maintained. If you go to a particular station and visit the station master's room, you will find that lot of records are being kept there. There are various registers like train signal register, in which every train arrival, departure, etc., they are being written in that register. Then there are other records like signal failure register. If there is any signal failure, if there is any caution order or speed restriction on the track which is imposed, that is also recorded. So lot of records are being maintained at the station, and it is the duty of station master to maintain each and every record perfectly. Then adequate safety equipment are also required to be available at the station. A lot of safety equipments are provided at the station, like there are detonators, wooden clamps, wooden spikes, clamps, etc. Then there is a first aid box also. There is a stretcher also in case any passenger is injured or any staff is injured. So all these safety equipment and first aid box, they are required to be kept at each and every station. Then alertness and safety consciousness of staff is very important. So whatever staff that is working at a station, it has to be alert and conscious about the safety of the train operations. So as an officer, whenever you will be visiting the field and going to a particular station, then you should always observe the alertness and consciousness of the staff working at the. So staff should not follow any shortcut methods. They should not violate any of the safety rules. They should ensure proper procedure and avoid any shortcut method. No rule should be violated, no shortcut method should be employed. It is very important to avoid any accident or any mishap. Then a lot of maintenance staff may be working at a station. Maintenance staff of engineering department working on track. Then there may be maintenance staff of signaling department, OHE, that is electric. In the electrified territory, you will find OHE staff also. So the station master, he has to coordinate with all the maintenance staff working in the station or near the station in the adjacent block section. The area between two stations, that is called the block section. And if any staff, maintenance staff is working at a station or in the block section, then the station master has to properly coordinate with all these maintenance staff so that the work can be carried out smoothly and the safety of the train operations is not violated. Then overtime, overtime allowance is given whenever a staff is required to perform duty beyond his prescribed duty hours. And TA is the extra allowance, the traveling allowance, which is given to a staff who has temporarily come to a station in case of any shortage of staff or maybe some other reason. So all these are required to be controlled. They should not be beyond a certain limit. Now, how are the station operations carried out? The station operations are carried out by a set of instructions. There are set of instructions available for carrying out the station operations, and all the station operations, they are carried out by the station staff, primarily the station master, using these set of instructions. So what are the set of instructions available? There are general rules. General rules or the GR. So you may get a copy of the general rules of the Indian Railways, maybe from the library, and or it may be seen online also. It is available even on Google. So if you search for general rules of Indian Railways, you will find there is a site on which you will find all the general rules which are applicable to the Indian Railway. So all the operations, they have to be carried out as per the general rules. Then there are some subsidiary rules. The subsidiary rules, they are formed by the zonal railways. Generally, the principal chief operating manager, he formulates the subsidiary rules for a particular zonal railway. So these subsidiary rules, they are specific to a particular zonal railway. However, they should conform to the general rules. They cannot violate any of the general rules. So the general rules combined with the subsidiary rules, they are called as G&SR, or the general and the subsidiary rules of the railways. Then there are station working rules, which are specific to a particular station. Station working rules, they are issued for a particular station, and they are the set of instructions available for the station staff specifically for a particular station. Again, the SWRs, they cannot violate any of the general rule or the subsidiary rule. The SWRs, whatever is written in the SWR or whatever the provisions of SWR are there, they should not violate any of the general rule or any of the subsidiary rule. They have to conform to the G&SRs applicable in that area. Now, there is a block working manual also. Now, what is block working manual? It contains the rules and regulations for working trains on single and double line sections by means of various type of electrical block instruments as prescribed in the manual. So it regulates the working of trains on single and double line section. So a lot of rules which are specific to the working block working in a section, they are mentioned in the block working manual. Then there is operating manual also. The operating manual contains useful information about the operating department and rules and regulations about marshalling of trains, shunting, movement of over-dimensional consignments, station working rules, details about dangerous sections and guard sections. All these information that is available in the operating manual. Then the operating manual also consists the instructions for movement of explosive and dangerous goods. It also consists the instructions for movement of inspection carriages, then government mail, special trains. They are also specified in detail. The organization's objectives and function of traffic and train control, they are also dealt in this manual. Then one more manual we have, which is called accident manual. Now, accident manual is also specific to a particular zone. Each zone in the Indian Railways is having its own accident manual. So it lays down the general instructions such as reporting, classification and types of accidents, details about relief measures such as medical relief trains with their composition, location, maintenance and dispatch to the site of accident. Then instructions for rendering assistance to the passengers seriously injured and duties of various officers and staff when an accident takes place. So general guideline of safety, that is name of authorities to be informed, payable ex gratia, compensation amount, jurisdiction and contact details of civil authorities and assisting agencies, etc. in case of accident are given in the manual. So there is also a certain procedure to be followed for movement of accident relief train and accident relief medical equipment train. So there are these two trains. They are generally run during the time of accidents. So one is called the accident relief train, which contains all the material required for restoration after an accident, and there is an accident relief medical equipment train, which provides medical assistance to the injured passengers if there are any during the accident. So such trains, the operation of such trains is also mentioned, that how they are to be operated, that is also mentioned in the accident manual. Now let's study the station working rules. I will tell you about the station working rules in some detail. So what is the objective of station working rule? As per the general rule 5.06, the general rules I have mentioned that there is a general rule for the entire Indian Railways. There is a set of general rules for the entire Indian Railways. So if you look at the para 5.06 of the general rules, it stipulates that in addition to the general rules for the Indian Railways and subsidiary rules of a railway, each station shall be provided with station working rule. So there has to be a station working rule for each and every station. It is mandatory. A copy of the station working rules or relevant extract thereof shall be kept at stations, cabins and level crossings concerned. So the copy of station working rules, it has to be available at all the stations, and the relevant portion of these rules or the relevant extract of these working rules, it has to be kept at the cabins and the level crossing gates which are available in the vicinity of that station. The object of SWRs is to inform all the staff concerned about the special features of the station. So what is there in this SWRs? The special features of that station, they are mentioned in the SWR, and the rules to ensure safe train operations at the station and the adjacent block. Now the SWRs are also intended to draw attention of the staff concerned for the rules for giving line clear. Now what is line clear? Line clear is the authority or the permission given to the other station to send a train, that yes, we are ready to receive a train which may be dispatched from your station. So a line clear is given by one station to the other. So what are the rules for giving that line clear? They are mentioned in the SWR. Then how the signals are to be taken off, how the reception and dispatch of trains will be done, how the level crossing gates will be worked, how will the shunting operations will be done, how will stabling be done. All these rules, they are mentioned in the station working rules, and there are also rules to be followed during the failure of points, signals, interlocking communications, etc. So it is a very detailed document in which all these rules are mentioned. Now, who issues the station working rules? Who is the authority to issue? So, under the provision of the General Rule 5.06, the authority to issue SWRs rests with the authorized officer of the railway. Now, the power to issue SWRs has been further delegated to the senior DOM. Senior DOM is the Senior Divisional Operating Manager or the Divisional Operating Manager in the division, and the Senior DST oblique DST, which means the Senior Divisional Signaling and Telecom Engineer or the Divisional Signaling and Telecom Engineer. So both of them, they jointly issue the SWRs for the. So those who are in signaling service, you will be becoming DST or senior DST. So you will be you will be taking part in issuing the SWRs along with the senior DOM or DOM of the division. The SWRs are issued in conformity with the G and SR and cannot in any way supersede them. So G and SR cannot be superseded by the station working rule. In case of any conflict, if there is any conflict between the provisions of station working rules and the provisions of general and subsidiary rules, the provisions of general and subsidiary rules will prevail. Now, what is the responsibility of officers signing the SWRs? The SWRs are the functional rules governing the working of stations. So they need to be prepared with care and attention. So if you are taking part in preparation of a SWR, you have to prepare it with lot of care and attention. Any deficiency in these rules can endanger safety. If there is any deficiency or any discrepancy in the rule, it may endanger safety of train operations at that particular station. In which case, the officers signing the SWR shall also be held responsible along with other staff for breach of safety rule. So if there is any deficiency or any discrepancy in the SWR which results into any accident, then the officer who is signing the SWR, he will also be held responsible for that accident along with the other staff for the breach of safety rule. Now it is obligatory that the rule diagram of the ground conditions are compared at the site to confirm accuracy of rule diagram. So in every SWR, all the station working rules, they are having a diagram of that station, which is showing all the lines, all the signals, gradient, etc. So that diagram is called the rule diagram of the SWR, and it has to be compared to the actual layout at the site, and it should conform with the actual layout. In absence of officials signing the SWR having verified it personally, the officer who is signing the SWR, he has to verify it personally that the rule diagram conforms with the actual layout at the site. And if he is not able to confirm it personally, then there is a transportation inspector and there is a section engineer signal. Both these supervisors, they have to jointly inspect at the site and certify that the actual layout conforms to what is shown in the rule diagram. So after receiving confirmation from these supervisors, then only the officer is supposed to sign the station working. Now review. The station working rules, they are reviewed once in every 5 years. So after every 5 years, after the issue of the SWR, they are reviewed, and if any changes are required, then they are reissued. In the event of more than 3 correction slips have to be issued, the SWR should be reissued without waiting for the periodical review to be conducted every 5 years as mentioned. As per the operating manual, if 3 correction slips have already been issued, then the SWR, then we should not wait for 5 years. Then the SWR, after the issuing of third correction slip, the SWR should immediately be reissued. Now, what is the responsibility of station master? The station superintendent or the station master on receipt of the SWR must immediately check to ensure that these conform to the local conditions at the. So, station master has to be alert, vigilant, and we should observe and see that all the provisions of the SWR they match with the local conditions at the. If he finds any discrepancy in the said rules, he shall immediately bring such discrepancies and difficulties to the notice of senior DOM or DOM and the transportation inspector of the section. If the station master finds that there is some discrepancy in the station working rule, he has to report it immediately. Should not wait for any instructions. He should report any discrepancy immediately to the transportation inspector or the concerned senior divisional operating manager or the divisional operating manager of the station manager in charge shall see that all staff having definite responsibilities in train passing at their stations correctly understand and follow the SWR. So whoever is the in charge at the station master who is in charge of the station, he has to ascertain that all the staff working under him, they are having definite responsibilities and they correctly understand what is written in the station working rules and they are following it or not. It is the responsibility of the in charge that yes, all the staff, they have understood the rules correctly and they are correctly following the rules. Now, assurance of staff. So, in order to ascertain that the staff has understood the rules and they are following it, an assurance is taken from the staff. So, so all the staff which are working at a station, they have to give an assurance in a register that yes, they have studied the SWRs, the rule diagram, and all the other instructions pertaining to their duties, and they have understood it very well. There is no confusion or ambiguity in their mind about any of the rules. So, an assurance has to be taken from all the staff that yes, they have well understood the rules, there is no ambiguity, and they are following it correctly. If there is any illiterate staff, there may be some group D illiterate staff at some of the stations. The station master has to read out. The station master has to read out all the instructions to that staff and ensure that the staff has understood all the rules correctly. Now, fresh assurance shall be obtained in the assurance register from the staff concerned when he joins at the station as a new member. Whenever there is a new staff posted at a station, a new staff arrives at a station, he has to give fresh assurance in the assurance register that yes, he has read the station working rules, he has understood them, there is no ambiguity in his mind, and he is ready to follow them correctly. If there is any change in the station working rules, so whenever there is any change in the station working rules, in the event of issuance of any correction slip, all the staff, they have to again give an assurance that they have understood the corrections or the amendments in the SWR. So whatever amendment or correction that has been done in the station working rule, that has to be understood by the station staff without any ambiguity, and they have to give assurance. They have to give a fresh assurance in the assurance register that yes, they have understood it. And if a staff goes on any leave or any training and resumes after an absence of more than 15 consecutive days, then again he has to give a fresh assurance that yes, he is well conversant with the provisions of SWR and there is no ambiguity and he is ready to follow the SWR without any doubt in. Now, standardization. So the station working rules of the various stations, they have been standardized as per the format prescribed by the railway board. So the railway board has prescribed a format for the station working rules of the stations, and all the station working rules of the various stations in the Indian Railways, they are uh, made as per the format prescribed by the railway board. However, it has to be ensured that the station working rules which are framed as per the format, they should be self-contained, brief, precise, to the point, and written in simple spoken language. It is very important that they should not be very lengthy, unnecessary. They should not be very complicated. They should be written in a very simple spoken language so that they can be easily understood by the staff who is working at the station. The general and subsidiary rules, they need not be reproduced in the SWRs. There is no need to reproduce all the general and subsidiary rules. However, the concern, if there is any general and subsidiary rule which is relevant to a particular provision in the SWR, then that rule number, that is the general and subsidiary rule number, that may be quoted there, but it is no need to reproduce the entire general and subsidiary rules in the SWR. The senior DOM, that is the senior divisional operating manager or the divisional operating manager, and the senior DST, that is the senior divisional signal and telecommunication engineer, or the divisional signaling and telecommunication engineer, and the senior DE, that is the senior divisional electrical engineer or the divisional electrical engineer, PRD. PRD is traction distribution, are required to be to add those special items or features having a bearing on safety in operation. So certain items are required to be added in the SWRs which have a bearing on the safety in the train operations at the concerned station and which are not covered by the prescribed form. So those items, they are required to be added. Now, what does a standardized SWR contain? It contains the following things. First is the SWR diagram, then the description of the station, what features are there at that particular station, then what are the systems and means of working at that station, then what are the systems of signaling and interlocking at that station. So all these are mentioned in detail. Then what are the systems of telecommunication at that station, then systems of train working, blocking of line, how a line is can be blocked at a station if there is any work required to be carried out. Then how will the shunting operations be performed at a station? Then what procedure is to be adopted in case of abnormal conditions? What will be the visibility test object? A visibility test object is used in case of fog in order to ascertain that whether there is a fog at any particular station or not. There is a visibility test object provided at each station which is observed by the station master from a distance to ascertain whether there is a fog or not. So that visibility test object is also described in the SWR. And the list of essential equipments at the station, that is also mentioned in the SWR. In the fog signalman, during fog at any station, there are some fog signalmen nominated which have to perform the duties like placing of detonators near the signals. Whenever a train is passing near a signal, near a stop signal, some detonators are placed so as to alert the loco pilot and the assistant loco pilot about the approaching signal. So such fog signal men which are nominated in case of fog, they are also mentioned in the SWR. Now there are certain appendices also in the SWRs. Appendix A, it concerns with the marking of level crossing gate. Appendix B, it consists of the systems of signaling, interlocking, communication arrangements at the stations. Then Appendix C, it mentions about the anti-collision devices. Then Appendix D, it mentions about the duties of train passing staff and the staff deployed in each shift. All the duties of the staff and the staff required to be provided in each shift, that is mentioned in the Appendix D. Then there is an Appendix E, which is the list of essential equipment provided at the station. What essential equipments are required at the station? They are mentioned in the Appendix E of the SWR. Now, Appendix F is regarding the working of DK station. DK stations, I think you will be knowing during later, maybe in some other lecture, you will be you'll come to know about what are DK stations and all. So such stations, halls, then there are some intermediate block huts, intermediate block stations, outlying sidings, etc. Or if there are any special class stations, then also rules are mentioned in the Appendix F. Then in Appendix G, we have rules for working of trains in electrified section. So those sections which are electrified, so their rules of working, they are mentioned in the Appendix G. Now, shunting operations at the station. So how are the shunting operations carried out? The shunting operations, they are carried out by either fixed signals. There are fixed signals at the stations for carrying out the shunting operations, or hand signals are shown. Hand signals by flag, by red flag, green flag, or there are hand signal lamps, which may be red, white, or green, or by verbal directions. The station master may give verbal directions for performing any shunting. The loco pilot has to depend. The loco pilot shall not, however, depend entirely on signals. Loco pilot who is performing the shunting, he will not depend on the signals only. He will always be vigilant and cautious. He has to personally see and observe that there is no violation of safety. The points, signals, they are properly set. The loco pilot has to be very cautious and vigilant. And the speed during shunting operations, it should not exceed 15 kilometers per hour. Then responsibility, the station master shall see that the shunting of trains and vehicles is carried out only at such times and in such manner as will not involve danger. So there should not be any danger or any violation of safety during the shunting operations. That is to be ensured by the station master. Now, shunting during reception, if there is any reception, if a train is coming to a station and a train is being received at any station, then no shunting movement shall be carried out towards points over which the incoming train has to pass. So it is the responsibility of station master to see that there is no shunting movement carried out towards a line on which an incoming train is to be received. Then shunting near level crossing gate. There may be some level crossing gate near the station or within the station premises. So if any shunting operation is to be carried out near or across a level crossing gate, then in such cases, it has to be ensured that the level crossing gate is close to the road traffic. So no shunting operation should be carried out near a level crossing gate or across a level crossing gate if the level crossing gate is open for the road traffic. Then drawing to an advanced position. So when you learn signaling, you'll come to know that there are some signals like starter signal, advanced starter signals at a station. So whenever a train is required to be drawn to the advanced starter signal, the portion between the starter and the advanced starter signal, it has to be track circuited, or Excel counters have to be provided to indicate the presence of a train. However, whenever there is a shunting of train within the station section only, then these provisions will not apply. Now, obstruction of running line. So whenever any a running line is a line which is controlled by signals on which a train can be received or from which a train can be dispatched, and the movement is controlled by signals. So on such a line, if any obstruction is there because of any work being done by some department or some supervisor, then the permission to obstruct a running line can be given only by the station master. So if any supervisor wants to perform any work near the running line which may obstruct the running line, then it has to take permission from the station master, and who in turn will take all the precautions. If a running line is getting obstructed, then all precautions will be taken by station master to protect that line so that there is no accident, there is no chance of any accident, and all these signals for that particular line, they are kept in on condition till the obstruction is. Now there are certain sand humps or snag dead ends provided. They should not be obstructed for any purpose because they provide the signal overlap for a signal. Now gradients. There may be gradients within the station. So utmost care has to be taken about all those gradients. And whenever shunting is performed on a gradient, it is required that sufficient number of brakes are put on and specs are used. So whenever a rolling stock, some shunting is required to be performed on a gradient section, which is having a gradient, maybe down gradient or up gradient, then there are chances of rolling down. The stock, if it is not properly secured, it may roll down. So it has to be properly secured by using brakes or spreads. And if there are steep gradients, an engine is also attached towards the falling side of the gradient to prevent the rolling stock from rolling down. So what is a steep gradient? A steep gradient is 1 in 260 or steeper in case, and however in case of vehicles with roller bearings, it is 1 in 400 or steeper. So this is the definition of the steep gradient. So in a steep gradient, we have to attach an engine also towards the falling side of the gradient. Now, loose shunting. What is loose shunting? Loose shunting is shunting without attaching the engine. Maybe a wagon may be pushed, or a wagon may be hand shunted by hand. So generally in sick lines or maybe in some hump yards, etc., such loose shunting is performed by gravity or by hand shunting, etc. So, however, in case of vehicles, that is coaches containing passengers, workers, or goods stock, or wagons containing explosive, dangerous goods, livestock, etc., they should not be loosened. Now, securing of vehicles. So, if any wagons or coaches are lying at the station, it is the duty of station master to secure, to see that all the vehicles, that is the wagons and the coaches which are standing at a station, they are properly secured as per the special instructions. They are so that there is no case of any rolling down, and there is no violation of any of the safety provisions. Now, as I discussed, there is a control office in every division. Now, what is the role of control office? The control office, it functions as the nerve center of train operations. It is the nerve center of all the operations which are being carried out in that division. Charting of running of trains is done. You will find whenever you will go to a control office, you will find that all the trains which are running in that division, they are charted. A chart is prepared which shows the movement of all the trains in the division. Then there is collection of information preparation of various positions, law generated given to the officers who are concerned with the operations. So a lot of information is given by the control office to the concerned officers so that they can take day-to-day decisions regarding the train operations. Then planning for loading, unloading, interchange, transshipment, etc. that is being done in the control office. So for all the goods trains which are to be loaded, unloaded, or if there is any transshipment is to be carried out, all those are planned in the control office. Then there are daily conferences with the DRM, headquarter, and the other divisional officers. So you'll find that the controllers, they are doing daily conference in the morning or maybe in the evening also with the DRM, the divisional officers, which may be senior DOM, the other departmental officers like senior DST, senior